steep incline, and then they've done a lot of work, and much work, you know, creating the wall and creating everything. And then right at that angle right there, they left, Keith, correct? They left a section that was right there. And so I was just curious as to, I don't know what the original plan was. And I was just curious as to what it said.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to verify it right now, but my recollection is that that was just going to be loam and seed behind the sidewalk. So what happens is the sidewalk follows the curb line coming up, and then there's a vacant area behind the sidewalk. I think that's kind of what you're asking, which was previously the ramp, the concrete
Correct,
sort of
the
ramp.
exactly.
So now that's going to be flat, and we have that area as loam and seed. Now, there's we could do something a little bit less maintenance intensive, like, mulch and plant.
Yeah, probably that's what it'll
Something
end
like
up
that, or we could do, extend the sidewalk. The thinking was to try to minimize some of these sidewalks in, an area like that where
Yeah.
you're really not gonna use it, it's just
Yeah.
like a surface treatment.
Yeah, because you're gonna go around.
Correct.
Right, the
The
sidewalk,
raised area.
exactly.
You're gonna go around it.
Right, it works its way around it, and then it meets the walkway at the stores
Correct.
right at that grade, so it's just
Correct.
designed to wrap around like that. Yeah.
Right, and so I just had the picture, of, and this, none of that, everything else got changed, how everything else got changed. That had not.
Right.
So I just was curious as to, that the intent was to not move any of that.
That's right, because the wall itself, we did not
It's
want
just
to
a
get
picture
into affecting, because it's attached to the building,
Yeah,
there's the
okay.
railing, and that was a whole can of worms that we didn't want to get into, because then you almost never end without having to rebuild that entire wall, going all the
Okay.
way down to Cat Alley.
Plus,
Yeah, and
there's a gas tank right under there.
Correct, right on the backside.
There's the compressor, there's
Yes.
gotta be piping, electric,
Yes.
God knows what's down there. So
Okay.
the intent was to
Okay.
leave that as it is,
Okay.
Right.
and then just the
Want to see it?
area behind the sidewalk would be landscaped to the wall,
Right.
and that angular portion would just be retained as almost like a balanced stone wall.
Okay, I was just curious,
Yep.
as to how it was.
And they'll chink it, put the rock, because right now there's a little bit of daylight between
Yes.
the.
They
because
said
when-
they did do that, they said they did some.
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of
actually, I
that.
was just out there, I was looking at other things, and then Mark came out and I talked to him, I can't even remember
Okay,
if they had, but that was the intent.
okay,
Yeah, and there is a gigantic boulder that does project up out of that surface, that if they were to pull that,
Anything could happen.
we were reluctant to touch that, so we came out yesterday and took a look at it, and they packed it with crushed stone to fill in the voids, because there was a real washout
Yes.
underneath that boulder.
Yes.
So packed it with crushed stone, wrapped it in fabric
yes.
to hold the stone, so that whatever we put on top doesn't wash through, it stays on top of the fabric.
Yeah, and I could take some pictures of that.
Okay.
You-
So
okay, you
could
got a
see
good
that.
look at them
Yeah,
doing that?
Yes,
All
I
right,
saw
good.
them doing that.
Good.
While we're on that corner, I received an email from Becky. She had some good experience, but it's not as good as she would like. And as I came around that corner just now to come up here, I know that having their equipment there is very convenient, but I don't really care about their convenience. I care about my people. So I'm thinking that it would be more convenient for Becky to have them move their equipment at the end of the day over in front of P&F, because it's just sitting there, right?
Is P&F, what is P&F?
Where the ambulances are.
Yeah, where the ambulances are, P&F
Used
Services.
cars, used
used
Oh,
cars.
cars.
okay, yeah.
I don't know if it makes a difference in the evening if she's not open. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to make things better for her
She closes at
too.
and they work
So
until 3:30.
But they
right.
have,
So I don't know. That doesn't even matter. I'm trying to figure out how to help her out. Her husband was going to come if he could.
I just talked to the two of them, actually.
Who?
Great.
Becky and Fred. I
Yeah,
think his
Fred.
name is. Yeah, and they're managing. She said that Monday was a better day because most of the other restaurants in town are closed.
Right.
The past 2 days have been slower. They're just hoping that it can get done as quickly as possible. Really, that's the best thing that can happen.
That's what I think too.
You know,
So what does that mean? How long before they move down the street?
move down the street.
Yeah, out of the, right immediately in front of her building, so there's all that orange stuff
what
isn't
his
there.
plan is exactly. They made pretty good progress in
Yeah.
these 3 days, so my guess is, the end of the week, they can at least take down the fence. The fence is what, to me, the
It's
fence is a
offensive,
barrier.
it's offensive to, and
It
it
is.
scares people off.
Right,
Yeah.
it makes it look like they're not open for business. Yeah. But they have to have it just because there's the whole, they can't leave that.
Frankly, if I were Becky, I would make a sign and put it up.
Yeah,
There is a business open sign.
No, I know, it's just that crappy little blue thing though. I'm just saying, if I were her, I would say, we're still open, come on in or something. I don't know what else you
Oh,
can
We're
do.
doing like a sandwich sign.
Mm.
There's
Right
a,
at the corner,
there's a
right there.
neon open sign in her front window.
Yeah, that you can't see because the fence is in the way.
That fence is not in the way of that.
Yeah, sure, if you're standing right there where you took the picture, I'm saying when you're driving up the street, listen, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm just telling you, I understand that, Dennis. I'm just saying, if I was out of town or even driving around, I wouldn't exactly run over there to eat. It looks like a disaster.
Well, it's a construction site, yeah.
All right,
It shouldn't be a problem for Balthazar moving that equipment across the street.
I wouldn't think so, but I don't wanna do something that's not gonna have a positive effect. And if they move it at 3 o'clock and have to
They're
move
gonna
it
be-
back,
yeah,
right, it doesn't
yeah.
really make a difference.
Yeah, but her business stays open, I don't know right now, because seasonally she does things, but the walk-up ice cream window always
Yeah.
stays, and I don't
I
know
don't think
if
they're
they're doing
open yet.
soft serve now anymore, which was a big thing. You'd have to ask her, but
Usually that season doesn't start for just a little while longer.
Does anybody
usually
know-
like around Memorial Day,
It's usually around there, yeah.
but
When does Becky open in the morning?
early, 6.
62.
So before Balthazar's does.
Yeah.
So it may behoove to move the trucks, if she's got an hour of business before they even start work.
And it's
What
not
time are they
just
in there,
her.
7?
7.
If she opens at 6, then that gives her an hour. Just a thought.
Mm.
They were very good today. I just asked, because several times I've gone through that just to see things. And Balthazar had left their blue truck right there as you come to Mechanic Street. And the truck was right there, and they didn't realize it, but when you're driving, you can't look to the left. You can't see a car coming down. So I just said, if you could get a chance, if you just couldn't move that truck, and immediately send a guy and move the truck. And it made all the difference. Then you could literally see to the left when you were, at that junction of Mechanic Street and Exchange Street. So they've been, I think, good to work with.
They've been very, very cooperative.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think.
correct.
You got some contractors that just nilly-willy do whatever they...
She says there's a path to the door, but the first 4 parking spaces are blocked off. I don't know, does she mean in front of the building or on the other side?
Well, they,
Both.
Probably in front.
Yeah.
Well, we knew that, because
All the rocks.
they're gonna be gone, never mind blocked off, right?
Well, they used a lot of those for the picnic tables.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Which they will, that area will be used, right?
Right, but that's why I'm trying to figure out why she's
Yeah.
telling me that, because they don't
Well, the
exist anymore anyway.
excavator's sitting there too, during the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
thought
that's
what
gonna
she
take,
meant.
you know what I'm saying? No, when he's setting the rocks.
That's
You know
Oh.
what I'm saying? So he's using the
Yeah,
space
sure.
there.
What
Once
else
you
can
get
he
stuff,
do?
you got
Right.
Yeah.
The
Right.
compactors there. and-
Yeah,
I think-
okay.
I think that's what
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Okay.
Equipment is
There's not a hell of a lot you
But
can
there's
do.
no big,
No,
there's
they're
no,
not.
they don't
It's-
truck
it's-
park
Yeah,
there.
they just gotta get it done as quickly
Right,
as
okay,
possible.
all right, okay,
You know.
I get it.
Yeah,
There's
look
no
at-
pickup
look
park
at
there or
that.
nothing.
No,
No,
that makes
no.
Just the
sense.
excavator.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
They parked it over in the other
Yeah.
area where,
Right.
closer to James Street side.
All right,
She mentioned something
I'll
about
give her a
some of
hug.
those business open signs. I think it's in one direction but not the other.
Right.
That might be, I don't know if another one could be put up, maybe that helps. But
I think if I were her, I would do a little
Yeah.
$100 sign myself and, a banner and hang it on the side of the building or something, just to encourage.
Yeah, something she could use afterwards too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's
All right, I'll
also
talk.
benefiting too, because
No,
Dunkin'
hey.
Donuts is closed right now. And those guys are all going up there for coffee to her place. So that gives her a little more traffic than she normally has.
Okay.
maybe all those businesses could get together and just have that big plastic
Sure.
sign at the end wall,
Yeah,
you know, and just to say, we are open,
yeah.
you know, for business,
I,
and all
uh,
share in that.
I went in
Yeah.
there today for the first time in a long time, because Dunkin's is closed in the morning. I just prefer Dunkin' flavored coffee, but, I noticed almost a quarter of her table area is gone to an inside bathroom.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Why was that?
Wait a minute, that's not common stuff. Let's move on. We'll chat about that afterwards. I'm a very busy man. Anyway. You wanna do your cobblers?
We can.
Okay.
When you and I spoke last fall, I think it was, we were talking about it, the areas where we might want to consider additional granite cobble pavement surface as opposed to the regular cement concrete. We sketched up several areas, and one of the things, you know, that we have to consider is that the price for cobbles versus cement concrete sidewalk is about 9 times more
Yikes!
expensive. Yeah. So I calculated the areas, all the areas that we looked at, and it came up to $74,000. Total, you know, that doesn't deduct the amount that would be cement concrete. I think that's only like, well, it's gonna be 9, you know, basically about,
9 times less than that.
yeah, divide that by 9. So-
Right.
And deduct, so you're talking about like $67,000 for all of these areas. So I have, you know, the specific areas identified.
All right, let's
You
look
wanna
at 'em.
look at them?
Yes.
And we can.
You guys, why don't you guys come up? This isn't like we encourage frontline activity here.
On these yours?
No, they were here,
I'm gonna have one.
they were here when I sat down.
Okay, so, and by cobblers, you mean bumpy little,
Yeah,
rock-like things,
really
or-
granite cobbles that they place into a, you know, aggregate, you know, not concrete, but like a sand, you know, sandy aggregate, you know, similar
I don't
to
know
like
what
a
the hell that
patio
means.
kind of.
Like making a patio, you put the sand, you put the stones in.
oh, okay.
Brush it in.
Oh, okay, all right,
Just
okay,
don't harden
okay.
it.
I thought it was similar to the concrete pattern.
The sidewalk.
No, it would not be that. Now, we could, you know, obviously that could be considered as well.
That, and I apologize, you know what I'm talking about, just
Yeah.
like little rounded, like, stone
You're thinking of the
patterns?
individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a, like,
At the beach.
yeah,
It's hard to
Well,
walk
it
on.
would be
Yes.
like,
It's hard to walk.
it would be similar to that. It'd be like the, you know, the cobblestone street, only inside of the, you know, like a sand, like a brushed in sand.
right.
So, you know.
Okay,
that-
I thought it was just a concrete pattern, like similar
Yeah.
to the, we have instead of concrete sidewalks in
You
the,
mean like
in the North
stamped
Park,
concrete?
yeah, stamped
Yes.
concrete, it's just stamped with a different pattern.
Right, and we could, that's another thing that
Okay.
we could do.
Okay,
I don't know the price on that one.
That's
I'd have to
okay.
pull that up, but, that would be, you know, again, that was a pretty high price as I recall. I wanna say that was like $135 a square yard,
Yard.
something like that.
yeah,
So that's actually a less of an increase to go to the stamped concrete versus the cobbles.
right,
And, you know, that might, I think the idea was to give it a little bit of a different texture and to kind of tie all these various sections of the common together to bring it, you know, make it all kind of seem as one common.
and also to not just have straight up concrete everywhere,
Right,
yeah,
right,
break it up,
right.
okay.
So,
So this is the end of West Street?
that's right, that's
Okay.
right, where we turn up to, actually, we're right up here, so it's that, do I have that right?
No, we're up here.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
upside down, sorry. Yeah, where we bumped out the
Yep.
pavement there to make this a perpendicular entry, went to Pleasant Street out onto West.
Okay,
So that's one location, and I do have it broken down by the actual square footage for each too, so.
So you can email that to me, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we could go through that.
Cool.
We can just look at the various locations we were thinking of. There is one location that's already on the plans, which is the intersection of Park and Broad, where the North Park sidewalk comes and it splits to cross Broad Street and to cross Park
Yep.
Street. There's a little, sort of little triangular section in there. Over here by, and I know we'll be looking at this area, the Park and Pleasant, over by the push brace.
Yep.
There's a big concrete area there. The big area that right now this is to be landscaped is School Street North Extension, where we have the big bump out.
Yep.
And, where it's tightened up there, at the mouth of the intersection, and the pole just got pulled. We do have the cobbles over at School Street North and Broad, and this bump out area here.
Yep.
Now, right at the corner of, this is a little bit further down, Common and Grove.
Right, yeah.
There's a bump out sidewalk, so another spot right here on either side of the wheelchair ramp.
Yeah.
At the end of Exchange over by Becky's, on the other side of the street of from the patio, there's a wheelchair ramp right there, and just beyond that. In Moulton Street, there's a bump out where we open up for
Right.
entry into.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. That's just a giant
It's gonna be a big
hunk
lobe
of
right
cement.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, to define the parking. A lot of it's to define parking, where we would
Right,
bump it out
right.
and tighten up the mouth of the intersection. And then this is over here at Mechanic Street, the turn into
Yes,
Exchange.
yeah.
There's a big wide section of concrete in there. We do have them on the other side over at Exchange Street, the crossing of Exchange Street over by Jason's Park here. And those are already cobbled, so that would kind of tie those two together. You look at these.
Wait, these are already cobble on
The,
the plans?
yeah, this is per contract, the ones.
Okay, so this isn't included in your 66 grand at the top of mechanic on this.
The ones that are included are separate of the ones that were, let me rephrase that. This is in addition to, I'll verify that.
Okay.
This is just a comprehensive plan
Yep,
of all the areas.
sure.
But the new ones were the ones that I calculated, at least that was my intent. I'll verify that and make sure I got that right, and I'll get back to you tomorrow on that. But, yes, these were in the original contract doc, so there would be no increase to,
Right.
for those. That does not represent an increase.
All right, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
whether it was in or not in that number, that's all.
Yeah, I know it was my intent to just do the ones that were not previously accounted for. And yeah, that's it. Those are the locations we had talked about.
Okay. So that is something that's not included in the original amount, but it just seemed to me, the thing that's, I think, sparked that was a conversation we had about the top of School Street North and near Picasso's, and it was just, such a giant area of ugly concrete. That I thought it should be a little bit different, just because when we're done, I just don't want the whole common to be a hunk of concrete. So I wanted to get people's thoughts on that. So this would be, they're gonna place cobbles and put sand in between, though?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Which would seem to me to be more labor intensive and
Right,
more
that's why it's
expensive.
more expensive.
Okay, so,
Right.
so I frankly I don't know if I care one way or another, whether it's that or stamped like something different. Any thoughts on that?
Can I ask how you were thinking about it being that versus the stamped? Why did you happen to come up with that? Just curious.
The cobbles
Yeah.
versus the stamped.
I think it was because he said cobbles and he was picturing one thing and I was picturing another.
It's probably,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because I thought all along we were talking stamped.
So did I, so
Oh,
that's
okay,
why we were
okay.
just not on the same page.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about definitions.
one of my reasons for thinking of it too is it's, and I'd have to ask the guys at Baltazar make sure that this is something they could do, where a lot of these areas are trimming down to like a small little wet, like almost to nothing.
Mm.
I don't know how easily they can stamp that versus the cobbles are just gonna kind of place them into, you know, the enclosed area, so that it, because it is all hand labor, they can just go, you know, and trim the, you know, the pattern down, you know, going from 4 rows to,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing.
You gotta stamp concrete if you have a long straight thing, it's
That's what it's
fairly
really.
simple rather
Right.
than doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna do it over at Becky's, and that's not a simple linear pattern, you know, and they've done it, I've seen them do it, but it,
Just
So-
the sheet goes over it.
Yeah.
Even if it's bumped out like that, the sheet goes over, they press where it's in the concrete, and the rest of the sheet
it
stays over,
should
does it?
be
They
something
push
they
it,
can
yeah,
do,
sounds bad.
yeah.
So you can, you know, you can do it even if it's got a curve on a big.
It should be,
Yeah.
yeah, it should be something they
Okay.
can do.
Yeah.
And that would, like I said, I'll verify the price with you tomorrow, but my recollection, it was around $130 a square yard. So, and the sidewalk is $36 a square yard, so you're talking, you know, 3 times the cost.
Right,
something.
right.
So, you know, that's,
Okay.
you know, 2,079 square feet, you know, whatever that's gonna be, how many square yards? I need to
So
calculate
let's think
it.
about that. So when do they need to know something like that?
We've got a little bit of time. I think we should probably try to have this answered within, say, like, 2 weeks to a month, something like that.
That's
And-
fine, because I'll just schedule another meeting 2 weeks and we'll get an answer on this and anything
Yeah.
else. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm sorry, their schedule is that they're gonna start reclaiming Exchange Street, mid-April. And, they're not gonna do any sidewalk work until after the reclamation is done and the pavement's down, then they'll start setting curb, and that's followed by sidewalk. Once they get Becky's wall done, they'll be doing, the drainage structures, they have to lower them so that the reclaimer can come through without
Right.
damaging the structures.
Mm.
So, that takes some time, that's like the prep work before reclamation, so that's kind of like the timeline. And
Okay.
once they start getting into the sidewalk work though, then we're gonna wanna let them know.
That's fine. Any other comments on pattern or anything?
Have we abandoned all hope for grass
Where?
in any of these places?
No. I guess I would just like someone's comment on how to take care of it. That was my concern,
And it's a big concern.
because we can hardly take care of the grass we have
I'm
now.
not
it
necessarily
seems to me.
advocating it, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering.
If we could get someone to commit to taking care of the plantings, like Becky's would commit to taking care of a planting near her area or whatever, that would be kind of nice.
The
That's hard to
rocks-
do because you got people moving in and out, but
The ROTC kids took care of the island right there for years, with flowers on the island.
yeah. So what spots, Lester? Most
No,
of them aren't that
I'm
big.
just- This was
Anything?
just a general comment.
I'm
way
certainly
back.
open to that.
No, I'm not necessarily advocating it, I'm just wanting to be sure we are considering it before we don't consider it.
What- one-
Would we have to get a small lawnmower to make that work, you know, to do that if we
I'm
chose
sure-
that,
I'm
like
sure
in
that-
Jason's Park?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was thinking
they
of
got-
Jason's Park.
Well-
They got one lawnmower small.
Okay.
Well, maybe, Paul.
I think
if
I
may.
get concerned with, at the very beginning, we were adding all of this grass back to the common, which was a nice idea. And now I'm seeing that kind of eroding a little bit around the edges. But if there's no way to properly maintain it, then that's gonna be the reality.
Well, these spots weren't necessarily supposed to be grass except for maybe this
This
one,
one
right?
was.
That one was, yeah,
Yes.
I think the remainder is all concrete.
Okay, so it's not like we're really losing anything, that was concrete, we're just trying to change it up a little bit, but, so maybe we could make this one, that's a big area, I would prefer to make it,
It's very conspicuous.
so, what are your thoughts, John, on maintenance of something like that? I prefer to see mulch and some plantings there or something,
I
but,
would too, but as far as maintenance on the grassed areas, And I talked to Jason, because we hire students during the summer, part-time, take care of the cemeteries and things like that.
Right.
If it's not a burden, they could take care of the common grass.
But what we're thinking is, this is really the only area that there was gonna be grass,
I
right? That we
believe
don't
that's
already
right.
know about.
Yes, yeah.
So the only small area where you'd have to pull out a mower and mow it, and frankly, I'd prefer not to have that grass, I'd rather have it a planting, so like low-lying
shrubs.
little shrubs with some mulch,
Well,
does that
also, at
sound?
that point, they're gonna be trimming around all the posts in North Parks.
Yeah.
And that takes smaller equipment anyway.
Right,
And this is right in that same
so,
vicinity.
so that's a good question as far as, since that's such a big piece, would we prefer not to have that granite or cobble or whatever the heck we're calling it, and just have it be a mulched area?
Mulch with some plantings would
Yeah.
be prettier.
Or something other than concrete?
Either mulch and
Then you
plantings or
don't have to worry
grass.
about
So
mowing
let's
that.
take that out of the
And we'll set it
calculation.
off,
If-
too.
if
We'll
Jason-
set it
Yeah.
off.
Well, that's a
Take
good
care of
point
it.
too.
Do you mean that one specifically, or
Yeah.
do you mean, okay, so just this one here, we're gonna leave, that one will definitely be soft?
Right.
Whatever texture, we'll just call
Yeah.
it soft for
Yeah.
right now? Okay. I'm just gonna say landscape.
Yeah, we just saved a lot of money. Right?
Well, you saved it off of the 70 or the 65. This was not in the contract anyway, as a hardscape. We didn't change it.
No,
because
no,
That
no,
was
no, no.
always soft in the contract.
Right.
That.
Oh, it's
This was
gonna be
always
grass
a-
in the contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so we put mulch there, whatever.
just-
That'll be
We
pretty
just
much a
went
All right,
wash. Yeah.
still not,
It's saving off of
Yeah.
that number,
Yeah.
yes, it is, absolutely.
okay, so that was a big area. Does anybody have any other thoughts? The other areas are fairly
What was
small.
another big area that you were talking about?
Yeah, the one over by Mechanic Street, I think was pretty big.
Town Hall, that
Yep,
doesn't
Town
really
Hall
lend
was-
itself to grass, though.
No, I was thinking more
Where were you?
mulch.
Were you here, no, you were on Molten
One
Street
more?
now?
There we go. Yeah, that's pretty giant. Anyone's thoughts there?
Where is that?
It's in front of Town Hall. Town Hall's here.
Yeah.
It's kind of funky, but I don't know. As long as it doesn't impede like it did over here when you came up and you couldn't see anything because the stuff grew so high, you need to have
Yeah.
some
Mhm.
low-lying
Right.
shrub
I think
there.
when we're thinking plantings, we're talking like annuals.
Just little,
Little
teeny
tiny
bush.
things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, I think if this were soft here, more trucks would be tempted to go over it. I don't know.
I don't think so, because I think if it's hard, they'll run over it. If they see plantings, maybe they'll stay away from it.
Oh, good point.
Either way, they're gonna run over it.
That philosophy didn't work at the end of West Street,
The end of West Street.
where the island is now.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Guys
yeah,
planted
yeah,
that whole thing,
yeah.
trucks ran over it all the
Yeah.
time.
But that's more of a continuation. You at least actually have to stop here and think, so.
That's true.
So thinking about that, my preference would be, since it's such a big area, to try and do something with it rather than just concrete.
I agree with you.
I think on
Anybody
the
else?
other side, I believe we have that as landscape. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, this opposite end here, let me make sure I got this right, yeah, like the
Yeah.
two,
Yep.
Yeah, you're right, like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is landscaped here.
Yeah, we talked about that, because you were gonna put a tree there, and we
Yeah,
said no.
we gotta get rid of the
Right.
tree, yeah,
We just
yeah.
got rid of the tree.
So, or actually, I think the thought was we were gonna move it to replace
The
the
tree
tree
that's
Right.
we just
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, so that one would go over there.
Because that tree doesn't, over here doesn't interfere with
So
traffic.
this could kind of bookend
Mm.
nicely if we
Yeah.
were to make those two areas mulched islands
I
rather
think it
than.
might be.
I like
easier to
that.
Find a sponsor if you have them.
Yeah. We can.
That might
We
happen,
can make
too.
that,
Yeah.
Especially if you look
They
at it.
do that in
and
Worcester
it's-
all the time. They have
Oh, yeah.
areas that, and
Each
they get
intersection.
sponsored by
Yeah.
all those
Do
intersections.
you think that the mulch was something that we could obtain through the town's means? And the only reason I ask that is because I don't know that we have mulch in the contract, so it would be,
We can
get
find
them
mulch,
to,
Wooden come out.
yeah.
we can get them to just
We'll-
give you the
Looking good has mulch.
texture and then you throw some mulch on top
Yeah,
of
we'll
it.
figure that
Yeah,
out.
they'll give you the loam, you mulch it, yeah.
Once you guys
It'd
have
be
done
better
it.
than doing an add-on.
All right, so we'll be mulch
So we're soft back over here.
in here, And then just this one little patch in here, I would recommend do the cobbles there, because it's just such a
Yes,
small
yeah,
area.
no, I was thinking the big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, just the big ones.
Yeah, this one on the side here,
Which-
we want
What do we
Yes.
want with that? We want that.
mulch, or?
Cobble and mulch.
Tell me the other end again, where the tree used to be.
I think I'd have that.
That's
This one
all.
has no division to it,
Okay,
because
that's no.
there's no
right.
sidewalk there.
I think it might be better to have that cobble, only because I think that if kids are walking around in here, at least maybe they'll stay on one side and not kick the mulch around.
Another part of the reason
know.
for the
I think-
cobbles,
Aesthetically, it would look better with mulch,
Okay.
just especially if you're gonna have this hard in the middle.
Right.
That's the grandest building we've got, and it should look like we planned it that way.
All right, Bike Gum. I vote Lester takes care of that.
Let me just say
I'll second
one
that.
thing about that. I've been involved with a number of projects. Anytime that you use mulch and shrubs and plantings, they become a collection site for bottles and cans and rubbish.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
To the point on the last project, we wiped it out and we put concrete right up to a retaining wall for that specific purpose. Because it just, and you got people coming out of restaurants and that,
Oh, yeah.
cigarettes and
Well, they're doing that now, I mean, even without.
Well, so
anything.
that's a good point.
I don't
So-
think we're talking shrubbery here. We're not.
Well, mulch
Yeah.
invites them to throw garbage.
we do have a trash receptacle.
In that case, this is gonna
at
be a
that-
field day for them over
Right,
here.
it will, at this location, we have trash receptacles in the contract, we could strategically maybe place or move this one a little closer to
Mhm.
that area,
Mhm.
or have one on, again, bookend.
I don't wanna see a trash barrel in front of the town hall, because anytime you
Okay.
take a picture of the building, there's gonna be a trash barrel there. I just think that's a
You
bad
buy a
idea.
picture, what happens, you're worried about cutting grass. How many times you see the thing overflowing, who's gonna empty it?
Mm.
You say the highway department says no, the recreation department, no.
No, they do it
The
once a
guys that
week.
They do it
once
once
They
a
do it
week.
every Friday.
Every Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday it is,
It's on
okay.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens
After
in
the
the spring
weekend.
when it's fed up?
I know.
Especially
And now
if
with the
it
transfer
comes-
station, and people don't have a lot of places to put things. That's very convenient.
I used to watch
DPW
people,
does it once a week, Frank.
Yeah.
I used to watch people that lived in the buildings up there take their trash out and stuff them in the trash receptacles.
Mm,
Oh, there
Their
were others who
weekly
did that
trash.
too.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, we'll have to deal with that. That's why I think that it behooves us to try and get some of the local businesses to be responsible for those kinds of things, and hopefully that'll help.
Mhm.
Yeah, they get some free advertising.
Right.
On them.
Put a little sign
You
there.
know what, if it
Yeah,
doesn't
good with
work
that.
in a couple of years, we pave it.
Correct.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Case in point in
Doesn't work,
Gardner
it doesn't
by
work.
Burger King, I think Salvador maintains it
Yeah,
by the Rotary.
yeah,
And it looks awesome.
yeah.
I think those.
Okay.
Are two, right?
Are we good?
You okay
So-
on Walton Street?
Yeah,
Too small.
Okay.
Yeah.
so, okay, so wait, good, let me go through these just to make sure I know where we're at. So, up here on, leave them alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Give me the name of the street you're talking about.
End
This
of
is-
West Street.
Pleasanton West,
Okay.
Okay.
that's too far off the common for the guys to take care of. They can't-
Well, you could have the Jenkins people take care of it.
That's presuming a lot.
I know.
Over by the push brace there at Park and Broad.
I'd like some grass or something over there to continue the park out
Okay.
myself.
What
my own-
would be your preference, grass or what's everybody think on that corner?
'Cause I think it
Well,
just naturally.
They are
builds
over
the
on that,
inside
they are
part.
over on that side mowing.
Yep.
They mow there.
And then they
Yeah.
mow the library afterwards
Right.
at the same time.
We
They're
do
right
have
there.
grass on the other side of that ramp, so like this area in here is all grass right now,
Yeah.
so it would be
This
kind of a
grass thing.
continuation of that.
Okay.
That's what I do, tie it right in.
Okay.
This is cobble per plan,
Yeah,
which I think is a good thing. Part of the reason for it too is to split the sidewalk so that it defines the path of
Right.
the walkway
Yeah.
versus the non-walking surface. Okay. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but over at Grove Street, the bump out on Grove Street, they left that open because we weren't sure what to
Yeah.
do last fall.
Of course, the Tapman House is right behind it. Do you think the bank would be willing to take care of that?
If you put mulch there, you mean?
Or anything besides
But
concrete?
there's grass right up to it though, right? There's grass
Grass
and
right up
then
to
where
it.
they cut out, so you can just finish grass, it'll be all grass area.
There's grass on
Yeah.
the side, the
Yeah.
back of the
That's the
sidewalk there
sidewalk
is.
is-
Yeah.
Who takes care of that? The Tapman House?
Which side of the street now?
Yeah, Glidden does all
Glidden,
that.
Glidden does
Glidden,
all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so we'll tell
Glidden does the
Glidden to do
bank
it.
side and town does the
Do you-
other
Would
side.
you
And again,
prefer grass
I
there?
prefer to see it soft.
Well,
there's
if you
way
bring
too much
grass, it'll
concrete
blend
over
right
there,
in the
so-
grass that's already there, they just bring it to the
Yep,
cement.
Is everybody okay with that?
yeah,
There's way too much concrete over there.
bang the
now.
gavel.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep
Um,
it
It's a
away
new
from-
company, but, you know, remember, it's a new bank that's
Find out.
taking over.
Yeah, I'll
I
yell
think
at
it,
them.
we can make that work.
Oh, it's a good time to
Well,
get
I was
them.
gonna say that, it's a good time to
Put
tell them
contract
this
right
is
into
what
the
they're gonna
grass,
do.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're just a little
Yeah.
extra.
Part of the
Yeah,
contract.
another
Right.
second.
Yeah.
Over
Right.
here
Oh, yeah, that's
at,
yours.
at the Exchange Street intersection, other side of, across from the wall over at Becky's.
Yeah,
What's, Keith, can you tell me what's gonna be in the park there?
This is loam and seed, and then there's various
Benches.
plantings in here. There's benches, there's a picnic table.
Bike rack.
Right, we had a bike rack, we took that, that's
Yeah.
gonna be the town's bike rack, or one location, or, well, at least that's what was
It's a
previously
good place
proposed.
for it. yeah.
Trash receptacle.
So that is grass to be cut.
That's right,
Okay.
that's right. That's the current plan,
Yeah.
yes. I think you have to, I
Yeah.
think you have to do that, yeah.
and that's
And-
going to be easy to cut the grass around the bench, the bike rack, and the table?
Weed
Just,
whack.
No.
just asking.
They get weed whackers.
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
it's
they
not
can
like.
do it, they can make it
We're
work.
certainly
All
not-
right,
We're not gonna pave it, that's what
Okay.
we've done all this to get rid of all that
Right.
paving.
Okay.
And there is gonna be a fence around the
Right.
park,
Mhm.
correct.
and so they'll have to weed whack in around the post, just like what they're,
Yeah.
they do elsewhere. Yeah,
Okay.
and a couple of ornamental lights.
Okay,
Okay.
I say that
gonna
should
look
be
nice,
soft
yeah.
too. It would just be a continuation of that.
This right here, okay.
'Cause you got
Is
so-
that big enough for grass to live in? I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's surrounded
I'm
by
saying soft, I
concrete.
didn't say grass.
that'd be fine.
Because you got so much stone going on
Well,
over here.
This is the area that we were talking about
Right.
in front of Becky's
Right.
here. So it might be nice, whatever we do,
Is-
kind of bookend it here as you enter,
That would probably be
whatever.
mulch and plantings
The
in that
Rossi
little
kids
up
are still
area. It's a
taking
little
care of it.
area, it's a little terrace area type
yes,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Can't imagine that would be grass. That would be goofy.
I think it would look good to have the plantings in here too, because then
Yep.
that will hide that,
Yes.
Right.
that
Yes,
slanted wall. And so, all right, so we'll
I'd
do
I'd
mulch
make it
and
match.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
mulch,
make it match.
okay.
okay.
Look at the money.
And then, yeah, the,
You'd like to think that.
over at Molten Street,
Delusional.
these two lobes there. We do have, this is all grass now.
I think you should put Jersey barriers around there, the way people have been driving through there.
Yeah,
Holy
I
cow.
know.
So grass or
This
I
is
don't
gonna
mind
slow
the
them down,
cobbles.
yeah.
I don't mind the
I
cobbles.
think,
just
I don't mind them over there either.
Cobbles?
cobbles.
Are we gonna really eventually be using the word stamped concrete?
Yes.
Okay, I just, want- if
Oh, wait,
I know that, I
is
feel,
that what you mean? Stamped concrete?
Six,
or-
one half does the other. You're gonna get us a price on both of it once you're done calculating
Okay.
how much we have left, and we're gonna figure out which one
No, I
we
just,
like,
all right, so
right?
it's one or
That I
the other.
thought-
It's
Right.
just, you mean a hardscape surface?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Soft versus
Hardscape,
hard.
exactly.
Hardscape.
It's a nicer way of saying it. Yeah, look,
yeah,
Okay.
you say tomato.
okay.
All right, so we'll get this sheet entirely. And that's an overlap as well.
Nothing on
That's
there,
it.
Nothing on there, okay.
Okay.
Well, we looked at,
So I'm going to make a note. Keith will
Mow the
email
lawn.
revised numbers for hard
Skate.
both cobble and stamp. And then we'll pick one in a couple of weeks.
And Keith, could you just, see, I have this picture of what cobble is, so can you like bring us in a picture of that?
Yeah, I
Because
have
we
to.
know what the stamp is, and the stamp is beautiful, you know, so,
Yeah, what I would have to do, I'd have to get it from my landscape sub.
okay.
Over at Beta. If it's a picture, I don't know that I have a picture. I have the
Okay.
detail. I could show you what it looks like in the
Oh, that's
the
fine.
plan.
What is up on Grove Street right now? Does anybody know?
What
do you
is
mean?
this?
What's in place on Upper Grove Street when we closed that off and put a park in there? Isn't that cobblestone?
I don't remember.
You know what's
Yeah, it
similar,
is.
Kathy,
Yeah.
is you go on a highway, you go on a Mass Turnpike,
Yes.
the entrance ramp, you'll see a strip of cobbles separating the
Right.
ramp
Yes,
from the main
okay,
highway.
Okay.
That's what it's
Okay.
gonna look like.
okay,
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
what I
That's
envision.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I think
Okay.
of
If
it.
they
Good
put them
one,
in the
John.
ground, then they brush sand in the hole.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
Yeah.
just loose, they
Okay.
brush sand.
and you can drive over that.
okay,
They put in the sand is compacted, and then they fill the voids.
great.
But it's
Okay.
not an ADA compliant path, so
Right.
it forces a
Right.
wheelchair to use the sidewalk as opposed to going onto
Okay.
this location. That was part
Okay.
of the strategy
Oh,
on it too.
okay, okay, all right,
Um,
that's what I want to know, okay.
Because we wanted to make sure we could define the accessible ways to the wheelchair ramp so that people wouldn't accidentally go onto a location with the proper slope.
Okay.
Kind of like leading
Right,
them into it.
that's right. Okay, so yeah, I'll get you the revised numbers. Based upon these locations here that we've discussed for hardscape versus loam and seed. You'll take care of the mulching part, we'll just go to loam, we'll just have a contractor put loam in
Mm-hmm.
wherever we're going with the soft treatment.
Yeah.
And then the town can come in and put in the planting and the mulching from there.
How do we do that?
We hire someone.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
was
what
gonna say,
we're,
we hire
We
somebody.
hire Bill.
yeah,
Okay.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's done a lot of.
And he's done a
Or,
lot
I
of
mean,
work
it
for
could be an
nothing.
extra work order too, if you wanted to do it that way under this contract.
What would
That's-
your preference be, John, having done this stuff before,
I
Dennis?
would rather the DPW handle it.
It's
Yeah,
kind of like, it's
absolutely.
more of your own personal preference,
Yeah.
it's almost like Baltazar would just hire a sub anyway, so we
Right.
can.
Let the town
take
do
care.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're gonna be
Works an
taking
extra.
care of it, they might as well
Right,
do it. the way they
absolutely.
wanna do it, yeah.
okay.
You take a little pride in it. too.
That's right.
Next item is push brace. The dreaded push brace.
Did you,
can you also bring
has,
up the
So-
library too?
What's that?
The library and the bricks. So I just wanted to be clear on that,
Wait,
when we talked about the library and the bricks.
yes, we'll talk
Okay.
about library and bricks.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
Okay,
Not necessarily in that order.
Okay.
Hold your breath, though.
okay,
does everybody know the options?
I'm going to explain that, so, because it really doesn't matter what the options are. We're going one way and it's been vetted ferociously over the last 2 weeks. So the push brace, does everybody know what push brace we're talking about in front of the
Yep.
library? The big ugly friggin' pole that those morons put in.
Yep.
Nobody knew was gonna be there, but it was in the plan anyway.
Right.
But, so we decided that can't be there, it's awful. So they said, what I was looking at is number one, going underground 100 feet over to the pole across the street. Somehow National Grid said that that was just too much for them and they refused to do it. I enlisted the help of our senator, he couldn't even get anything done with those morons. So, instead of being able to do that, which made perfect sense, we're now going to put a new pole up here on the common, on Park Street in front of, at the corner of the entrance. So it's gonna come off of Broad Street, the electricity's gonna come off of Broad Street, new pole here, replace the existing pole here, so it's, and then it will come down and it will simply feed this house and it'll feed the church. So you're going to have about 480 feet, or 380 feet of new wire. This tree is gonna get beat up, and there's nothing we can do. But that is the alternative to having that big ugly ass pole there, and I just can't have
Yeah,
that thing
that's
in front of
gotta
the
go.
common, it's gotta go.
Right, it's gotta go.
So,
It's
and
also
the,
the alternative to putting a pole in the middle of the walk at the library.
Right.
So, show me again your fat hand.
Sure.
This is actually the
Couldn't see.
option.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
so this we can't do, this was some dumb
That was-
option
that
that was
was
not
worse
even,
than-
so this is,
Alright.
this is it right here, you're coming off the pole off Broad
This is
Street.
Park, yeah.
Yeah, putting a pole in here, nothing really affected here.
Mhm.
Replacing this pole
There's
here.
already a
and-
pole here, right?
Yeah, and this
Okay.
tree gets beat up.
Okay, and does this pole come out or just the
Nope.
brace come out?
Just the brace.
Just the brace,
Okay.
okay.
All that
Okay.
just to remove that
Which is
brace.
better
Yeah.
than keeping the brace there.
No, that's gotta go.
That's gotta go, because the brace blocks the entrance into the park.
Yeah.
Looks like crap.
It does.
So that's the deal. The upside is, it
National
apparently
Grid
will
signed off
not,
on this? Did they,
Yeah.
are they gonna do it?
yeah, so the upside is that that's not gonna be an extra charge allegedly, where it otherwise would be.
Question, is this a town tree or a church tree?
I don't know how it could be a church tree because they don't have any right to cut it, so they need easements over there.
No, that's in the roadway layout, so it's pretty.
But we're not
I bet
saying,
the
that-
church
we're not
doesn't know
saying,
that.
we're not saying the tree
Probably
has to
not,
go,
no.
we're saying it's gonna be beat up, but we're not sure.
I really hope they are delicate with that then.
Oh, yeah, this is the.
Yeah, they said they wouldn't have to cut the massive swath through because it's a secondary electrical
Mhm.
wire.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't need the kind of clearance that a primary
And
would.
it's not gonna look like this in there.
You
Yeah.
can get something like
I'll buy
that.
you lunch if it doesn't look like
The
that.
other thing that I took a ride by today, and you kind of mentioned it too, Paul, that there's a chance, these poles are putting up are huge. That's
To
why
go
I-
right over it.
They're
It might,
massive,
it
yeah.
might, that tree isn't that tall that it
No, it's
might
a
be
young
able.
tree.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I'm hoping that.
They
it
could
can
trim
do that.
off some of it.
Yeah, they
Right.
might take a little haircut on top, but that would look better than the hole
Right.
to it, so.
Right, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Had any-
yeah.
Because these poles are
Had
massive.
anybody,
It's
Soon.
massive.
It will be?
I think that
You
would be
already put
done
an order
fairly
in?
soon, right? No,
Like
Yeah,
for Memorial Day?
I don't know the time frame on that. Now, when Steve talked, like, how did he leave it with them? Did he, like,
he
give
said,
them the
oh,
authority to go ahead and do this?
no,
or-
no, no.
Okay.
No, he just said,
right,
I
so-
can't do anything.
I need to follow up then, and I'll tell them to
Yes,
go ahead with
please.
this plan. Okay.
Right.
Paul,
Who's
just
Steve?
as a point of information, did National Grid give you a reason why they won't go underground?
No, because
I
that's
like
what I
that.
wanted.
I like underground.
I will tell you,
Is it just cost?
No, it had nothing to do with nothing. John Estes, the idiot from National Grid, first said that, and I pull up the email to show you. He first said, we can't do it, paraphrasing, because of our regulations, okay? So then I said, well, what regulation is that? We went back and forth. Keith I and Paul Montero sent a scathing email over their way.
All's good.
And then he got back to me and said, well, that's not our preference. And I said, well, wait, which is it? Is it against your rules or is it just not your preference? Basically, after that, it was go screw. We'll do what we want because we're national, I don't care. We do what we want because we're
What
National
if-
Grid and we're
Well,
not going to do that.
They've been behaving that way all along.
So that's what I asked, John. I asked
Because if it
exactly
was
what you
cost-
asked.
If it was cost, the DPW
Oh,
could
yeah.
dig the trench and put
I
in the
asked
conduit.
exactly
And that's
what you
all they
did.
would have to do is run the cable.
I said, is your reason cost or you can't do it because your regulations say so? And they refused to.
They just don't want to do it.
They just don't want to do
May
it.
I ask a question?
Yes.
If this committee voted that that was what we wanted them to do, does that carry any
Nope.
weight at all?
Nope.
How about the selectmen?
I would have to say no, and I would have to say that that would probably postpone this longer than we want to have it go
well, they've been
on.
dragging their heels all along anyway.
It's too bad, because I agree with you 100%.
I agree with you too.
I thought it was easy.
Rid of those poles, you know.
What do you think, Kathy? Do you think the selectmen would have any influence?
National Grid is a very independent organization.
I agree. And
But
they,
it's
and
not
they,
their town, this is our town, this is our project, this is our street, this is our,
he lives in La La Land.
It's just sometimes. But, you know, you're
Just
right, if you don't
sometimes.
fight for it, you
Oh,
just
we-
never know.
I fought
But you
for
don't
it
wanna wait.
for
Okay,
how many
so
I
hours
think-
over the last 2 weeks?
You've really been
Support the
fighting for
very
it.
Oh, my
okay.
God.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Paul Montero.
And Paul
he
is
got-
great.
he got his wrist slapped for
Okay.
intervening on our behalf.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I got nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fact that Steve wasn't able to get anywhere.
And he
to
didn't
me-
even, it
Okay.
wasn't even like
I'm s-
maybe something,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
just a straight up not happening.
Can
not
I-
happening, yeah.
Okay.
Would you indulge and humor me if I made a motion to have it go underground? It won't go anywhere, but I would like to be on record
Did that was
saying
our,
that is our preference.
sure.
I so much.
I'll second it.
Now,
Any other
what,
discussion?
You talking about all the wiring on the common?
No, just this
no,
one
just
spot.
one
Just that one section.
Just that one section.
There used to be a guy that lived right here in Barre on the fire department who's now the head of the underground stuff, the National Grid,
Really?
Chris McCarthy.
Oh.
Might be worth giving
Motion
him a
made
phone
and
call.
seconded.
I don't know Chris McCarthy.
I do.
Yeah, we're discussing this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The only thing is, it's gonna delay
Right.
the project. There's no question.
I'm
It'll
admitting
take
it's
them-
not gonna go anywhere, but
It'll
I
take
mean,
them
I,
forever to make a decision. But it would be nice. Motion made and seconded.
Just, unless somebody has some, I'm, if somebody wants to try and do something, I'm fine with that. I've done everything I can.
no, and
It would
we
delay
can't
it
do
at this
anything you
point.
can't do,
Yeah,
but.
I think my humble recommendation is at this point, I think we've done everything we can do. And what I would worry about is if it does delay beyond the time we reclaim Park Street.
Then you run
Obviously,
into a mess.
yeah, then you can't do it anyways. I don't know. I think you've done everything.
Right. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, anybody write that down?
I
Do
That
everything.
would be-
I'm the
that would be
freaking
you.
chairman. I'm the secretary and the chairman.
When
Look
the
at, you got an
secretary's-
empty sheet. What the
Wait,
hell are you
the
doing?
secretary's in Florida.
Should
you're
I
the
be,
secretary.
should I not say that with you?
I just got a little notice.
You want the gavel back?
No.
The gavel back?
Take it easy. Calm down.
I don't think anybody
All right.
will watch this anyway unless they're really bored.
That was a Pyrrhic victory. All right, what do we do next?
That's a great line.
But,
Posts and
Let
rails.
me just say this, Lester, you can laugh about that, okay? But I think it was an important motion, that the people in town know that you people asked them to do that.
Right.
That makes common sense. And as they go to Memorial Day exercise and they see the damn pole there,
Mm.
if it's still there and that, it's not the town's committee that didn't do it. I mean, I wish I could've gotten that fight in the beginning. and
Me too.
David
This-
and Goliath, and say,
this
hey,
goes-
come on,
this
we're
goes
spending
back to
millions
when-
and you can't.
Right.
This goes back to when this first started, Fran, last summer. They started butchering all those trees along Broad Street, along the far side of Exchange Street. Oh no, they can do whatever they want because they're National Grid. I had enough of it back then, but there was nothing we could do at that point.
But the perception is, if you go around town, everyone's going to say, why the hell didn't they bury all the
Right,
cable? They don't know, they gotta be told,
Mm.
we tried, they wouldn't do it,
right.
okay? Anything like that, that's not your fault, and you shouldn't take the hit for it.
Mm.
But people, you know, they'll say, why didn't they do the wires and all the infrastructure?
Well, as
before
Keith will
we
tell
did
you,
anything?"
that was one of the first things we talked about.
We
was
did have
burying
an extra
everything,
$3
burying
million.
everything.
Yeah.
An extra million or
And it
more
was extra
dollars,
$1 million.
Yeah.
you know, in order to
Yeah,
do
but
that.
I agree with that. But that's, at that point, you say to the town, if you want this, let's have an override. If they don't, well, then you're out of it.
Then you're out of it.
It's the same
Which
thing
gave
with the
them
public
choice,
safety
yeah.
building. Give them a chance to say no.
Right.
Put the fire department right on with the other two. If they say no, it's not the fault of the committee.
Right,
Absolutely.
Very good point.
right,
Yeah.
good point.
Yep.
Hope you got all that down there.
I blame the chairman.
It doesn't get any
Oh,
easier.
Doesn't do anything.
He doesn't. Maybe not the good time to say
Keith, what
that.
else do you have? Anything?
I brought the meeting minutes from last meeting. I think, the bulk of the conversation was on the North Park and the
Yes.
setting of the posts. And,
Yeah.
procedurally, we had a price of $1,000 each to reset the granite posts.
Yeah, so go slow, because I want to sort of, I'd like to put this,
Sure.
come close to putting this to rest and maybe put it to rest in 2 weeks, because I still think we're out in la-la land, kind of.
Keith, is that cost including material and labor?
This is just resetting the existing post, so
Oh,
there's no
okay.
material, it's
Just labor.
just labor,
Okay.
right?
So this is that's a number from Baltazar, correct?
Right.
Okay, so 1,000 per resetting post, right?
Yeah, now that, I didn't solicit that number, either you or Jason Pimentel, I think, got that.
Okay,
um,
I don't remember, I didn't get it.
Okay.
I think
so
Jason did.
He
yeah.
did,
Okay.
okay.
So, I'm curious though, because you can't reset a post without taking off rails. So does that include taking off the rails? How do you reset a post without taking off the rails?
That's a good question. I would assume it means taking off the rails. Now, that, you know, as we go further into it, we also talked about getting new
New rail.
rails.
Well, that's fine, but I'm
So
saying,
there's an
there's a
R&D,
lot of,
remove and dispose there, yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of labor in taking those off and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, yeah, we can replace them, but it doesn't mean we want to take them off the posts.
Yeah, I don't, I guess we'd have to check with Jay
Yeah.
and see how he discussed it with,
Can you do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Please?
And could we review, when we talk about resetting, we're talking about pulling them out and putting them back,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Did we figure that it took 4 hours to do that? And that's what we were looking to see if that cost was a
It'd take a
reasonable
while.
cost.
It'll take a while, but,
And it would.
Per post, you mean?
yeah.
That was my
Is
question.
that what we
didn't-
got for an hourly?
Is that what we were just thinking?
I think somebody was
When we
just
had that
throwing that out
discussion,
there.
right.
We
I
thought it
just
was
didn't-
exorbitant amount of money.
It is an example.
Right, but then we said, is that because it might take up to 4 hours to really go in there and, to do that?
It's a pretty labor intensive, I think it's gonna be a tough
They gotta dig around it,
job to,
Yes.
yeah,
loosen it
yeah.
up.
Have the right machines to do it too,
We're not even sure what
at least
they're
2
setting it
people?
right now.
Yeah, I think one of the questions, Keith, was what the protocol was for doing that. I mean, they're not just gonna lean it,
Yeah.
plumb it, and leave it there, or they
Gotta have
actually,
a-
you know what I mean? So I think,
Footing
I think
plan.
Jason needs to get us some more info on that. I don't
Next frost, they all
know.
go like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
What do you think, Jay? Is it all handwork?
It's most of handwork.
Can they dig on one
Well, they
side,
can dig both two sides,
two sides?
two
and then
sides,
do
and maybe the
others?
front. They gotta pull them out, clean the
Yeah.
holes,
They can do it with the small
yeah,
backhoe.
at the laser, all of them, so they're all the same height. It'll take a while,
Yeah, 4 hours is not a lot
you know?
to do that.
And they will have to take off the rails because the next one's gonna be on the same, so the rails can't be there.
Right.
They have to be right out of the way.
Yeah, it's almost like they
Yeah.
gotta take all the rails
Yeah.
off on the
Right.
line.
Correct.
And just work their way
Yeah.
down.
Work their way around.
Yeah,
And you figure which height they're going from.
They would have to survey it, and they would have to run a line,
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
line,
Or they'll just do it a laser.
Yeah.
They'll just,
or a laser,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We could,
Okay.
I'm old school, we
Old
use
school,
lines.
yeah,
Because remember when Craig did that, it was about 5 years ago
So-
on the Broad Street
Yeah.
side?
So they've done a couple since
Yes, they
then.
have,
That was-
right.
my recollection was that, that would involve taking the rails off, setting the posts, and then, we were talking about maybe at the highway department, the Boy Scouts painting new rails, and somehow then, I think.
Yeah, so hold on, don't get to that yet.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Dennis will get a firm count on the number of posts. Have you been able to do that?
Yeah, you gave that to Paul.
yeah, I have that
Okay.
in an email, right?
What was it?
164?
Was it
I
154?
didn't bring
Wait a minute.
Or 160?
Posts?
164 rails.
Yeah, there's not that many posts.
I wanna say 80, close to 80.
That sounds more like it.
I have it here in an email.
Yeah, I thought I did too, Dan.
I got it.
That makes sense, because each post is 2 rails, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so we just need to confirm the scope of that $1,000 price with Jay as to what that includes.
You looking at February 12th, Keith?
I am,
Okay.
yeah, because it does say, it was agreed that Baltazar would be engaged to reset the posts only, which may yield a lower price since their proposal was also to install the rails. I don't remember if Jay was at that meeting though, whether or not, Because there's still, I have a question mark there, like this was something we
Right.
still don't know for sure.
I don't think we do know, so I think
Okay.
if,
All right.
if you wouldn't mind following
Yeah,
up with
I'll follow
Jason
up
on
with
that,
Jay.
that would be
Yep.
great, and get answers to that. So, and going along with that, the pins, how do we get those out of the posts? That hold the rails? Because I've had conversations with Bert Allen, and he's working on that, and I was walking around the common the other day, and I noticed that some of the pins are old, nice-looking pins that are cool, and some of them are just hunks of metal that they shoved in there when they didn't have anything. So
Right.
what we're trying to do is get all pins that look the same and have them crafted, but I'm concerned about who the heck's pulling those out of the post.
Yeah, are they grouted in?
I don't know.
They're screwed or nailed in.
Yeah, but into the post, into the brick, the stone post, they just hammered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're tapered.
Yeah.
So how do you get them out? You just
You have
pull
to
them
pull
out?
Tap
And hope
in,
they don't
pull
break.
out.
Really is.
They'll
Well,
come out.
they probably won't break. You
Okay.
gotta wiggle them a lot.
They can't torch them
Yeah.
out?
I just took,
Uh,
I took one out with my hand
You need
the
the
other
hole to
day.
put the new ones in.
Okay, so you put the
Yeah,
new ones in the
right back
same
in the
hole
same
that
hole,
you
Yeah.
put the old ones
Yeah.
in?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can do that, they won't be loose or anything?
No, they've been
No,
done-
once you get
they've
them-
been-
once
they've
you
been
get
done
them
100
in, though.
times, so.
Here's,
okay.
here's one of the pins there.
Gro, you gotta,
Yeah, just that those pins have been a problem over the years. They've bent and everything else. I was in
A lot of them-
Hamilton over the weekend, and I was looking at a fence similar to ours, and it made a lot of sense, and Jay, you may wanna get in on this. Rather than just a pin, take two pieces of steel and weld it like that,
Yeah.
say 3 or
Yeah.
4 inches
Yeah.
out, weld the pins to the bottom. So now you're gonna really hold those things in place, not just the small pins, but you're gonna
It's
have
sitting on a
a
plate.
piece of
Yeah.
steel.
I have seen that too.
And they
I've seen
re-
that
they
too.
really hold, and they stay straight
Yeah.
for
And they
forever.
make the wood easier to replace
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
More money.
well, I'm
If you're gonna do it
I'm not
right,
so much
Sean,
worried about,
70 years in the making.
if you're gonna do it right.
I'm not so much worried about the money, because I think that we're lucky enough to have a little bit that we could do things. I'm more worried about the historical situation. And
No, I haven't seen the fence that
Yeah.
Fran saw, but I've seen fences like
Right,
that,
yeah.
and it is very historic appearing. And
So it's just a V
Yep.
metal, right?
the whole
With the
point is to
pins
have the
underneath.
posts.
Yeah.
The whole point is to have the posts and the rails. It's not as critical as to how you're attaching one to the other, but these do look very period.
So it's just like a little cradle that.
It's like a little
holds
cradle.
it.
It actually
Okay,
gives
all right,
the rail a chance to move too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, a
You know
little
what I
bit
mean?
of
If
expansion there,
it
so
slides
you don't-
off, if it slides too much, and it falls off the pin.
Part of the problem now is the rails don't have any give and they split.
They split, yeah.
Because there's no-
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Well, that just complicated things.
Because didn't you already secure a certain type of pin?
No.
Okay.
And is there any reason why we couldn't use those pins? Okay, so that's interesting. So what are we thinking about there? I don't know how to craft these things. Do we need to? The pin that Dennis just showed on his picture was what we were trying to get back to the original look of that. So does it now not matter if we're using that V channel?
Well, we don't want anything to look like you're slapping stainless steel on there, but I mean, you want it to have some kind of period appearance, but maybe what Fran's talking about may not be as expensive as trying to recreate.
Where was that?
It was the Wyndham Hamilton Library. I'm not sure.
I think Lester should call them and find out what they do.
It's good. And they had the exact
Hasn't that
granite,
done anything?
granite poles, granite pillars, and,
Yeah.
but the length of the.
Are the pillars, are the posts as thick as ours are? Because I've seen like thinner.
I think they were, because the distance between the pillars is not as much as ours.
Oh, okay.
The two
Um,
towns share that library.
But you have to be
Two towns
careful as
share
to
that
what you're
library.
using to shove back in the posts,
Yeah.
right? Because those things are funky, they got a little tapered end,
Yeah.
it's like a,
It would probably be easy to get the bracket made, put those pins in, and tack weld them right in place.
yeah.
I mean,
And what color is?
because drilling holes in that granite is hard.
Yeah, we don't wanna be
It
doing
is
that.
hard, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the posts themselves
We
are
could get those.
relics. I mean, we can't be
Brackets
messing
made
with
locally,
posts.
I think.
Probably, yeah. Probably
Yeah,
Joe
okay.
Bassett
Can't
or.
have
Joe-
Joe,
cheap.
yeah, Joe
Weldon or
Bassett.
somebody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
A vendor on the street was, that sells those brackets,
Right.
just to get an idea for price.
Right.
That's a good point. If we get a good picture of
Yeah.
that and take it up to
Joe.
Mr. Bassett and say, can you do this?
I have one of them in my, well, the old pens in my truck.
No, you're talking about
We're
the
talking
V
about the
thing.
ones that
Talking
Fran's
about
talking
oh,
about.
Stainless steel.
So,
No, we're not doing stainless steel.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
so that's just a
All right.
matter of a bent metal plate,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's a, yeah. it'll-
Welded.
They can, yeah, it's either welded or they buy a piece of angle like that and they cut pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got this piece of
They cut
angle, and then
6-inch
someone
pieces
like
or-
Joe Bassett's gonna come in and weld the pins. After they're hammered into the
Yeah.
post, he's gonna weld the
Tack them in
pins
spot.
to the metal plate, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But you figure each post has 4 of those.
Right.
So how many posts? 80 something? So that's a lot of this that has to happen.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so, so first of all, we don't know how much it costs. Second of all, we don't know if you need a welder to do that.
Tack 'em, yeah.
You can MIG weld them.
I'm not adverse to that, but
No, I'm not either, but I mean, we have to do something, obviously. So we either go with what we've got now.
The old pins, they used to make them at Allen's. They were a rod, and then they heat it up and tape at the end,
yeah.
and then they flatten one side.
Right.
To catch, cause those used to be diamond shaped, and then would catch
Right.
the diamond, and then just put, they used to put a lot of.
Now, is that what
details.
Bert was talking about doing?
Yeah.
Making 200 and some odd of those?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I have to get back to him. I don't know. He's been hit or miss. So, okay. Now what?
As far as Baltazar is concerned, are you thinking along the lines of they would come in and remove and dispose the existing rails and then reset the posts and then?
And then that's it, and
they're
then, that's what I'm
gone?
thinking.
And
What
then-
is,
and
what is
then they're
everybody else
done.
thinking?
Right,
And then we get somebody to come in and do,
Here's a picture of one that the
Oh,
roof
sorry.
rotted right. Sorry.
how do I do that?
Um,
Make it go back
Yeah,
again?
like he says, Balthazar comes in and removes the
I'll try
posts,
not to touch
removes the railings, gets rid of them.
Because that's under their contract, right?
no,
No,
no.
Okay,
That's
all
an
right,
ex-
that's what I was wondering.
that's an extra.
Okay,
Do we want, first of all, I don't know when we're going to have these pins and/or angle iron things. So I don't know that, what's your thought on when something like this would happen, Keith?
well, my thought was that they would do this when they're basically done with the road work. Like you want them to get in and
Yes.
do,
Right.
get the
Yes.
roads
So we're
done,
talking
get the
July, August.
August, I would say into September.
That's fine,
Yeah,
because it
next
gives us more
fall.
time to get our
Yeah.
game together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, there you might even be looking at going into the winter without rails and just, to do your work can be done in the spring of 2017.
17.
And so you'd have just
I'd rather get it done in the fall.
ideally, sure.
I agree.
It's just a question of whether or not, timing wise, how that, if you're ready to go,
Mm.
you've got to, get the posts constructed.
Well, I'm just talking about their work.
Rails.
So assume for sake of argument, they're
I'm
just
sorry,
pulling and
rails,
resetting
I
the
meant to
post.
say- Yeah.
We can do that at any time, right? I mean, that's not,
Yeah, if-
Because we can't do what we're doing till they do what
Right.
they've done.
right.
so I would
Right.
prefer, if they're just doing the post, then I would just prefer to have them do the
That's
post
another one I want
sometime,
to please.
August,
I think
September,
we're
October.
looking at that being done in the fall.
Okay.
Something.
All right.
But you still can get your pins and
Yeah, then you
brackets
could
made
get,
up
Right,
before that.
right.
get everything, provided for, and then set up your staging for the,
So who's gonna put the pins in without breaking them? I don't know, who would do something like that?
Oh, a good volunteer.
I'll do
that's
it.
good.
There's nothing to it. I already, I don't know if we're jumping ahead, but I
Has,
did.
have you ever installed one of those things? It's not that, I don't
You-
know.
You just tap them in.
Okay,
Some fit tighter than the others, and
You take something, clean the hole out, and then,
okay.
because
So Baltazar will have removed the pins, right?
yeah.
So
Because they
that's-
have to remove the rails.
Right. Unless they
No,
just
just because they move
disconnect.
the rails, they don't have to
Yeah,
necessarily
they could
take
just
the pins out.
disconnect
Yeah, you can
them.
leave the pins there.
They
You
can
don't
leave the
have to
pins
take
right
them
where
off.
they are.
Yeah, but what if they start screwing around, lifting the thing up, and they bust pins off
Yeah.
But what if they start screwing around trying to take the pins out?
and bust them? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
well, here it is.
I don't think it would matter either way.
Okay.
Because we don't want any busted, no matter how.
No, we
much
don't
we
want
get.
busting.
I got that email with the.
I guess it comes back again to Jay and what he agreed with
Right.
Baltazar, if that includes removing the rails and pins.
So let's find out.
Let's
That
find
would
out.
be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way, okay, so if Baltazar can do that under that $1,000 proposed price, is that what you're saying?
Mhm. If that's what the $1,000 was
If
for,
that
I guess.
includes removing, disposing rails, removing the pins, and resetting the posts, and then you can come in, put
Right.
in the new pins, new rails.
Right.
Or did Jason have an idea that the railings and the pins would come out by, say, the summer crew? You know, who's working on,
Never said anything.
you know, you need to find that out.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
No, the summer crew,
I don't know.
they don't have that.
the summer crew, do they?
Hopefully, it was $1,000 to reset the granite post, which means they did everything, and then it'll be less.
Correct,
Right,
right.
right, like. it
So
was
don't give them
lumps-
any ideas.
Yeah, well, I'll be talking to Jay.
Tell them we're going to
so-
take this out. So how much it will be now?
Yeah, right.
Question,
You don't have to replace them.
999.
Right. Right.
question.
Yes.
Through the chair to Keith.
Thank you.
When they reset these posts, are they resetting them exactly where they are, or are they gonna be measuring distance and maybe?
That's a good
It
question.
is a
Spacing
good
them
question, because I
properly.
was gonna get to, it's almost
'Cause they've
like you need
shifted
to do
over
an
the years.
as-built of every single post to make sure that, you know, assuming that you don't know for sure that every post is set an exact distance
No, over
apart.
the years,
They're
they've
not.
drifted.
I'm sure they've
Yeah.
they've
They're not.
moved,
They've
yeah.
drifted
That's
in,
why-
they've drifted out.
So
they-
you'd almost have to get, you know, each gap measured and, you
I'd put it in
know.
I
the same
went-
holes,
So would I.
Well, that's what I was asking. I mean, if they're gonna do that, fine.
because they're not
But
the same. They're
we
not
just
the
need to
same.
know
I
in
went
advance.
around
So
and
it-
measured every single one of them,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah,
There are so many different lengths of them. The most I could come up with was an average of an 11-foot span. From there, there's 82 granite posts. There's 11 smaller granite posts that block the sidewalks.
Right.
There is 164 rails, which currently are 6 by 6 by anywheres from 11 feet to 10 feet. That's how much of a difference.
Mm.
Some are pine, some are ash. There's 4 left of the original diamond shape. All the rest have been replaced. So there's only 4 left.
So let me ask you a question. We can't do rails until we know how far, or can we, and we're just gonna guess and leave some room at the end, till we know how far apart each post are. I would prefer to leave them in the spot that they're in, instead of making them all equidistant. It's part of the charm of the common.
so if they're 11 footage, you buy 12 and cut a piece.
Right,
Right, well, but that's what I'm saying, so we have to
Wait
wait
until
for
the
them
end
to
to order the
reset them,
And then measure.
and then measure, then have
Measure.
them
We
cut.
would take, I talked with not only the scouts, but I talked with the commander of the ROTC program for community service. They're absolutely willing to help paint these.
Yeah.
I would approach leaders and ask them if they would donate for the cause, or if we could buy them spray paint. Because you'd spray paint on a primer, they brush it in, and you move right along. Then you go back, spray paint on the finish coat, and they brush that in, or roll it and brush it, and you just make a little assembly line and do it. And then give it a couple of days for it to dry up before you go manhandle it to put them in. If we painted them off of the rails, or we could paint them installed. That's another way.
No, then it slops on.
No, we're not, no, I don't like
I
that
have to
idea.
tell you, that's
I'm-
what I did 9 years ago. It was.
I'm more
5
concerned
people.
about
It was really
the
hard.
length, not having
Right.
because it takes time to do that stuff. So you go to them and you say, I need 168 diamond cut rails. How long does it take to get those? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
If you ask for the
How much lead
diamonds,
time?
I don't even know if they
You're
do,
not gonna
they'll
get
cut
them,
them.
yeah. You're not gonna
That's
get
why
them.
they're all they are is a square cut, tipped up,
Tipped up.
and they
Nice,
look like a
but we're not
diamond,
gonna get 'em.
but they're actually square.
Yeah, right.
The
They're-
diamond
they're
shaped
square, yeah.
ones
They're
are
very narrow.
thinner,
Yes.
but longer
Yeah,
in height.
yeah.
You can really notice the difference.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
we care
Big
about that or
difference.
not?
No, I don't think you'd ever
Most
get
people would
anybody
ever
cut
know.
'em.
Price
Really?
wise,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
price wise, without getting any kind of a deal, the 6x6 by 11 footers were $32.40 a piece, times 164, which come out to roughly almost $5,000 just for the bare
Just for
rail.
the
Yeah.
lumber, yeah.
And that's pine, rough pine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan is, just so I'm clear, the plan is, it'll be August, September, they're gonna come in, it's gonna take a long time, right? For them to reset how many posts, 60-something?
80.
82.
That's a long time.
Are they gonna reset the other 11 too that are in the walkways? There's 11 of those thin,
Are they in cement right now, or?
yeah,
But
most
they're
of
gonna-
them.
We're gonna be redoing the walkways.
Yeah, so they have to
come out
reset
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
Come out anyway.
So September, they're coming out, they're resetting the posts, then we're gonna know how far they are, someone's gonna have to measure them, then someone's gonna have to call, then they're gonna have to deliver all this crap, then they're gonna have to paint it, so might not have them in by
Cold.
winter,
Yeah.
right? Just so everybody has a picture of what the hell we have going on here.
They should be able to get it done before December, if they start, say, the middle of September.
You're gonna order a 4x4 off a lumberyard, 12 footers, right? They probably got a whole stack of them already.
Well, we were
You
gonna
know,
get them from
yeah.
Robinson, right?
Robinson.
Robinson, yeah.
Have the
You
kids
you
paint
don't
them
want,
all.
you don't
Right.
want it rough though. You want them run through a plane and want them rough,
Yeah,
because then everybody could complain about slivers in their hands.
Okay.
That's right,
Yeah.
Okay,
that's right.
yes.
Is there a possibility of looking at a man-made product rather than wood that aesthetically and
like,
historically
Plastic.
replaced?
like the Allens did.
Well, I mean, it's just, when you're talking about pine and that, and you're talking about all painting, this is never gonna go away.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this committee's
It
gonna be
doesn't, right.
dissolved.
But it's, pine's not gonna last.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's something available that would, like decking now, instead of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That type of thing. Yeah, it's gonna be there. I mean,
I'll tell you though, those things,
they're expensive.
I've had those too. I've replaced some of my decking that is that composite stuff, and they come out with new types of stuff every 10 years.
Bigger, better.
And yeah, because they learn as they go along, and that stuff doesn't last forever
Yeah,
either.
And those
Curls.
colors don't last
No.
either sometimes,
In
right?
the beginning, everything was
Yeah.
guaranteed 40 years.
Yes,
Right.
of course
Yeah,
it
right,
was.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a 10-foot
replaced
span
that.
on that in the hot summer and some
Yep.
heat, they'll start to look like a
Yeah.
camelback.
They're hollow
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
I
four,
got a little
well,
historical
last one,
concern about
4
that
by
too.
4
I
be
think.
hollow.
Yeah, I guess we'll do
Plastic
wood.
around
That was a
the
good
top.
idea, but I think I would prefer wood.
If we went with a hardwood like an ash, which you're looking at 3 times that price.
Yeah, I know.
$100 a piece.
Yeah, but you know what? The bottom line
They
is,
last a lot longer.
right, we're not
Yeah.
gonna be here and someone else is gonna have to deal with it, so I'd rather get something, do
Well,
it
they
once
still
and do it
have-
once right.
They still
Paul, you
have
know how
some
much
on
money
there.
we have.
No, I don't.
And the ones that
Actually,
are
I
on
do.
there, those diamond ones that are on there still are in good shape still.
Yeah.
They're hard, they're not rotted.
And are those ash?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you later, guys, I can go now.
That's okay.
Thank you, Cal.
Okay,
So that
talk to you later.
answers that question.
It is 20 after 6.
All right, so,
But you
the
library, number.
so who wants to pick up the pin metal thing? What did we decide we're doing with that? Did we have a?
You better ask Bert if he's made one.
No, I'm not talking about the pins, I'm talking about the
Oh,
V
the-
holder.
The
Um,
cleat,
What's the preference? No V,
Well, like-
V?
Like Jay said, you get an angle line
Yeah,
and cut it,
right,
Cut pieces.
cut pieces.
yeah.
Decide how big of a piece you want.
But is that what is everybody okay with that? Because that's a
That would
change from what
still,
we
that would
have.
still use the pins.
That would
and
be
it
the
use-
Yeah, it would have to sit on the pin, yeah.
Would sit on the, so we'd still need the pins anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what goes into the
yeah.
So it
post.
goes
Right.
in the post.
So that, everybody's okay with that look?
Mhm.
And if
Okay.
it's welded, one weld to
Yeah.
to
long as it's
one
not-
end.
Yeah, Yeah.
Okay. so
I've
you
got a
see
MIG
black
welder,
and-
I'll have my son do it, because I can't bend.
Okay, so we're going to look at that option for the pins, so I need to follow up with Bert on where we're at with pins.
The metal has to be black, whatever we do.
Black. Okay.
Pins and the metal has to be
Yeah.
black.
So, and that's, so that's something to think about too, because you need, so don't you have to do something special to that metal thing to paint it black? You don't want to just paint it and have the paint come off.
Yeah, they, well,
Sandblast
they
it?
prime it, then
They
they
prime it and
sandblast,
paint it.
rough it up and prime it.
So who,
Yeah.
so it's funny you say that because you say they, but I don't know who the hell
I
they
thought,
is.
I thought I was talking to you.
He was pointing his finger at you.
I know.
He went like
Who's
this.
they?
Yeah,
Those guys.
use guys, yeah.
So we'll find somebody, I guess?
I think we should look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, who's we again? He keeps saying we!
I think,
guys.
I think that was the committee.
Somebody help me
This
out.
committee
That
should
was the
look.
committee.
Okay,
lead.
good, all
Well,
right.
somebody from this committee.
Committee
should
on
look.
this end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colorado
committee.
sample.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Long distance.
Thanks, Grumman.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Fran. And just so we know, when the rails are done, they're gray, they're not white. 'Cause they,
Okay.
it just so because historically they should be gray. Not dark gray, light gray,
Not battleship gray.
not battleship gray.
We'll designate you to pick out the color,
Yeah, right.
okay? And you can't complain about it.
A gray like that door,
No, that's too dark.
That's
too
blue.
dark.
That's
Too
blue.
dark.
But a light, but not white,
Not battleship gray, but
not battleship gray, but a little lighter.
Okay, so.
We don't need to do that now, but I'm just
All
putting that out
right,
there.
you guys are killing me.
Sorry.
All right, so you're gonna check on the post, right, with Jay? What else do we have?
Okay, Paul will speak with
Wait a minute.
Bill Robinson to discuss the price.
Dennis
of-
did that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, but Balthazar.
Yeah.
Oh, and a reasonable method to install the posts.
Okay, so,
We should
which we
re-
just talked about, right? So
Yes.
can you please check with them on a price for ash?
Yep.
Okay.
So did that price seem reasonable to Bill Robinson as far as the resetting of the posts?
Oh, you didn't get
No.
involved with that,
No,
with
that's
him?
okay.
Yeah, that was just strictly wood.
He's just getting
Oh, he
lumber.
was just checking into
Yeah.
the wood,
The
okay.
rail.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so then I guess this does come back to you then, Paul, speak with Bill Robinson to discuss the price supplied by Balthazar and a reasonable method to install the posts. We should provide a detailed inspect to ensure that the posts are set properly.
And that's what we were talking about. That's what I was talking about. And that's what you were talking about. I want to know what the hell they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So can you give me something in writing, says,
What does
can
Bill
Jay get
Robinson
something
have
in
to do with the
writing,
posts?
like an estimate?
Yeah, we really gotta give them, I don't know whether it was just a conversation or what, how
Pin him down on that.
formal it
One
was.
more question too, if they're setting these and one breaks,
I know.
how's that gonna work?
How is that
Steal
gonna
the spare ones,
Paint and
though.
get it glued back together, or?
They glued one on
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
top.
say,
Glue
you
a
can do
couple up
that.
there,
You can glue them back
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Don't
Remember that.
So, yeah, they will.
yeah. That's what they do,
Because
they
they've been
drill
hit by
pin,
cars.
2 pinholes in.
Yep, set
Glue
it back
it,
in.
set it right down.
Like dowels.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, but hell yeah.
That's
If that
possible.
happens, we know they're gonna cover
What does
it.
Bill Robinson have to do with setting the posts?
He doesn't.
Nothing.
Okay,
He's
you
just
just said, anyway.
I think,
All right.
we were just thinking that he would have he'd be a point of reference to let us know whether or not that was a reasonable.
No,
So see, I didn't
Right.
dream it.
just the price of the rails.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, maybe that's
Yeah.
just that type of, okay.
All right, let's see, blah, 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 Scooby-Dooby-Doo, that's, what you did, okay. Honestly, I don't really care about the truck detour signage, but that's up in,
Yes, they put in the advanced signage per your recommendation. I think that was a good recommendation. It really gets your attention when you're coming down 62. Like you could see, okay, there's a truck detour coming. I don't know how well it's working.
at least they know.
What's your
They're
sense?
still coming up, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that is only because GPS, and
yeah,
guys that aren't from around here get
Right.
a GPS thing and it tells them to go that way. And
yeah.
they don't
They'll
give
go
a
the
shit
wrong
about
way
the
on a
sign.
one-way
Yeah.
street
Oh,
because
yeah.
GPS tells them to go that
Absolutely.
way. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I know,
Okay.
I know. We run into that all
As
the
long as
time.
the signs are up and they know,
The-
and hopefully they,
The signs on the corner are not getting hit. So before those signs went
We're
up,
making progress.
yeah, I can still see some tracks
Mhm.
Yeah.
where they're
Yeah.
going over that corner. So I don't know, I think we gotta just kind of keep our eye on it, and this might be something we'll have to cut back
Yeah.
and reset that curve. I hate to do it, but we may have to.
And that's
do
really
it.
the only one that's a big
So
issue,
far, that's the only one
right?
that I,
It's the tightest little
Or we
spot.
It
keep it
is.
there and they learn.
right,
Well,
we're
it's just that if
hoping-
if you have plantings there, they'll be running over. If you cut it back a little bit, maybe you won't.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting around the signs, they're not hitting the signs, so, they're at least,
Put the signs on the
Yes,
curb.
right, put them up.
yeah, it's interesting, but,
Yeah, that's a good word.
we just gotta keep an eye, and I've been talking to Paul Montero about it too, to make sure that, or to see what his sense is, and it sounds like from what you're saying,
Hmm.
they're still, the trucks are not really respecting the detour.
Library won't quite.
All right. Do not enter signs, it looks like they pulled those out, although it
Yeah.
looks like there's one extra set of do not enter when you come up 62.
Yeah, they're still,
And I don't know why that's still
We'll
there.
take them
but,
down when they're done.
I'm not
I'm
getting
not
a lot of
sure.
pushback, but, so we'll take it out
We'll
when,
take them down
Yeah.
when they're done.
All right, the library and
Is that on the record?
the,
what, I didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything.
the fundraiser.
Right, so,
Yeah.
so the deal is that, as I understand it, on the library walkway, is we're going to do an add-on to the contract, right?
Yes.
Because we have to
There'd
do
be
the
an extra
whole,
work order.
we had an extra
Yeah.
work order, doing the whole library sidewalk, because they're tearing up half of it, so they might as well just tear up the rest of it.
Mhm.
And you get a straight grade all the
Yeah.
way from the sidewalk,
So it
the
won't be-
curb line all the way back, yeah.
So it won't be like Picasso's and
Right.
the insurance where you go down, it kind of has two,
Goes
has an
down.
angle.
Yeah.
It's goopy looking.
down.
it's kind
So-
of like the lock.
And, something in writing, I mean, it's gonna be, there'll be
This
an
was
extra
Kathy's thing. This
work
was-
order written out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's fine.
That's okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
all right.
Yeah.
We talked about the timing, it's not, they can do that anytime, it's not really impeding their progress, so I think
As far as the fundraiser goes, they intend to have the bricks there by the 1st of July.
okay. So,
So,
they
I mean,
won't
they're
need to
waiting.
do anything before then, so
Okay.
that'll be fine,
Right.
All right, I'll follow up and try and get a sense from the DOT people
extra
as to
work
what
order, who
the
is paying for, where's that money
extra
coming
work
from?
order.
Okay.
What, you paying for it?
No, I'm
All right, didn't
wanting
think
to
so.
know. I'm gonna be asked, so.
I think you should pay for it.
Hopefully
Let me
this would just
rephrase
come
my
out as,
question.
be part of the
Yes,
10%.
it's-
and
Right.
Yeah,
That we, it would,
okay,
we stay, right, we stay under that and
gotcha.
we should be okay.
I think my point is, if it can't happen that way, those folks need to know
Mhm.
soon, because that's obviously part of the whole
Right.
fundraising campaign.
Yeah, no, I
So-
think it'll,
So we are comfortable with saying they're not gonna have to come up with the cash to relay that
the
wall,
library,
the library.
not to my knowledge.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't go beyond that, as long as we as a whole on this project don't go beyond the 10% overrun, it would,
Even if we do,
that, is this
you're into, this is what we have
the
left.
supplemental funds?
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Yeah, which,
Alright.
it's not gonna be that much.
right.
you know.
No, that's okay.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it will be a lot to them, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't care necessarily what the answer is, I just wanted an answer.
okay, as long as.
That's my
you're-
understanding.
you're
Does
comfortable
anybody
with that.
understand differently?
Yeah.
We're all good.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Darn it.
10% or.
Did someone check on George's issue with the water going in the town hall?
Oh, yeah.
As far as I know, that they did, I wasn't involved in that particular conversation.
Okay.
It was more Jay with Jake. They seemed to know what the deal was as to why it was happening.
Okay.
And it looks like they're just gonna slope, pour concrete and have it, make sure it slopes so that it gets carried away like it did prior to the work being
Right.
done.
Okay.
It shouldn't be.
I just want to make sure that
Thank
someone,
you,
I'll
Trish.
follow up if that's an issue.
What I was gonna say too, at the end of the contract, there's also the possibility of removing some of the landscape work, some of the additional supplemental items, if we run into issues with funding.
Okay,
Just a thought,
Well, we're gonna have so much money left after we don't have to pay that $66,000 for cobblestone. We'll be rich.
Well, although I do want to
Which
see
brings
us
me
have
to a
some
question when
tree
you're
money
done.
at the end.
Yes,
Recently, some vandals ruined the flagpole on the North Common. They stole the POW, they cut the rope, stole the POW flag, but couldn't get the American flag off the cliffs. So they were yanking on it and they ruined the pulleys up inside the pole. That pole had been damaged years ago and several feet of the bottom of it were cut off and put back into the ground. If you ever look at it, the thing's cockeyed. I'm wondering, while we're doing this project, could we possibly fit in a new flagpole there? Though, that would fit the existing hole, it would just be set in place.
right. You'll have to come to our next meeting with a cost for that flagpole.
I can get some prices.
Do we have any historic flagpoles we can relocate there? Or are we out of those? Like, for example, the Barre Plains School and at Nonay Park. I mean, are there any poles that we have that are looking for a home?
I don't think so.
But I mean, okay, and to rephrase, the one in North Park has to have a lot of security on it. It's got to have everything's got to be enclosed, it's got to be, so this kind of thing doesn't happen again. So I don't imagine we have anything that can be
Well,
recycled.
it's kind of like what they have at the post office. The
Yeah.
workings are inside the pole.
Mhm.
Because all they did was, because we replaced the rope on it not that long ago, and they just went up with a knife. Because there's a lockbox on the pole, they just went up with a knife, cut the rope, took the one flag, and the other one was still clipped up above, and they got a hold of it, they were yanking on it and just wrecked it. So I had to take there's nothing on it now. And I had just put the flag to half-staff for that state trooper who was killed in the car wreck. And it's like, you little buggers, and I
Why
went all
did
around looking.
the American flag come down?
Because when they cut it and yanked it, they
It went off the track.
got it caught in a pulley up above, and then
Oh.
they kept yanking, and they couldn't get it.
All right, so you're gonna get us a price?
Yes.
All right, what else? Anything else? Anything else on my list?
You
Help
make
me
it
out
look
anyway.
taller than it is now.
Yeah.
Oh, getting back to the bricks in the library walkway, we might need to get a right of entry for that work. 'cause
That's
we-
not a problem, as long as you
Yeah,
don't put a
it's
pole
at
there.
your, at the library's request, I'm
Yeah,
sure they'll be fine with
right.
it. The contractor right now doesn't have the right to go all the way back to the
Yeah.
steps, so they might.
Just
You want me to do that?
Just a written agreement.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got the form.
if you've got it, yeah, something like that, just to get that
Yeah.
on
Just
file,
hand it to me and I'll get it signed.
make sure that everybody's covered there.
And we don't need any of that along Park Street for the new poles, because that's all within the right of way.
That's right,
Okay.
that's right, yeah, I was just looking at that. That's, that tree lawn, the layout line is the back of the existing sidewalk, this is all coming on the inside of it. Aerials, you should be good with that.
I thought being unreasonable. Seriously,
And are we good with the contract for the
See why
stamped
we can't
concrete
do
on the
anything about it.
interior of North
Yeah.
Park? Are we all set with that? I can't remember where the hell we were with that. It's been so long.
I don't know either, I guess that's something I can follow up with.
Can you follow
with
up on
Jay.
that?
Yeah.
With anyone, me, Jay? I don't know. I just don't remember where we're at.
I thought the idea was we were gonna have, well, no, I don't even remember.
Yeah,
Like, who was gonna pull up the old
right.
walkway and then Baltazar?
I think
was-
they were going to do it because they were gonna come in, they gave us I think the whole price was to compact and bring in their
Yeah,
stuff, but can we just, I just wanna be firmed up so I don't,
This
so
is
I
North Park?
don't lose
This
sense,
is North
yeah.
Park? They've already taken the walkway out around the Civil War monument.
No, we're talking about the full walk.
I know, but they've already done around the monument. It's gone.
Baltazar did that?
I don't know.
No, the
The
whole.
town did that?
Town did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's,
Well,
no, I'm
so
talking
we
about
will-
all of the
Yeah,
sidewalks.
it's all gone around.
So you're thinking that Baltazar was gonna do that though?
I thought there was, I
Okay.
thought it was
Let me-
dig up, replace,
So
put
all
put
the
the stuff.
sidewalks
Yeah,
to that whole common, the park,
Yeah.
Yes.
The
that's what I-
town did that other part so they could put that fence back up.
Oh,
Right.
okay, that's right,
They
yeah.
had to get rid of that sidewalk all around, remember, John?
Right.
So they can put the fence back up.
right.
And
But,
the
and then they were
granite
just leaving it
foundation
there
that's
for
in
us
there
when
now.
we came in with
When
the
you
new
finish
stuff.
it up,
Yeah.
the new stuff.
Yeah, okay.
All the old cast iron.
Yeah, because
railings.
my recollection was they actually had a higher price on the sidewalk you know, the stamped
Yes.
concrete. And I don't know if we wanted to do it or not, that's the thing. You know, did you wanna go ahead with that, or look into having somebody else do?
No, I think when we went back and forth on that, and we figured it wasn't worth it to go out and get an outside contractor and do that whole
That's right,
thing.
yeah.
and
Right.
Just have it done as part of the whole project, and then we're not screwing around, so.
Yep.
I think we decided that it wasn't worth that
The
amount.
mobilization
Yeah,
and everything you're gonna have to
yeah.
go through, yeah, okay.
But if you can just follow up
Yeah,
with
I
that,
will,
that'd be
yeah,
great.
Yeah, and that's
You're my
another thing-
babysitter.
Okay, the thinking
It's not
being that
paid enough.
they can just do that at the end of the contract as well, like the.
Yeah.
the
However they
man-
fit that in with the
The
rail, with the
posts.
posts, right.
Yeah, okay.
What, can we?
Just both of you.
No, can I ask a question through the chair?
Yes, sir, thank you.
What are we doing with that little pad over by the savings bank?
You asked me that last time.
I know I asked you, we could talk about it today.
Oh, I don't remember even what it was. What was it?
That little sample pad that they put in
Oh,
on the
right.
South Common, what are we gonna do with that?
You mean?
Are they gonna take that out?
The one that's
Or are they
just
gonna-
sitting there in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
the mock, I assume they'll take it away
Okay,
at
all
some
right.
point in time.
Cause it looks weird just sitting
Just
there.
like, okay. I didn't know what you
I mean,
meant
you're gonna
by
put a
that, yeah.
statue on it, what are we gonna do with it? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what
Do
Jason's
you have a
going.
spot you'd wanna put it? Is there any place
got
that it
no
would be
place
of
to
any
put it.
use?
No,
Then I would say we just have them.
I'm trying to get more
Make a
grass.
good boat anchor.
Make a good boat anchor.
Yeah, there's gotta be some,
But I mean,
Foundation, it
but
could
on
be
the other hand,
used
if
for-
we've paid good money for that, we should probably use it somewhere, but if we haven't
it
paid money
was just
for it.
a mock-up they did.
Wait a minute, how
yeah.
big is it?
About half the size of this table.
Yeah.
4x4 probably.
What's it made out of, concrete?
Yeah?
It's that same.
We
the
can use
walkway.
that on the North Common, because there's gonna be eventually 9/11 Afghan-Iraq memorial going there. So maybe we can put that on the side somewhere and use it.
So take a look at that, Dennis, and see if you think the size
Where
is
is it?
anything. It's across from the bank. It's just sitting there
It's in the
next to
bank.
the walkway.
It's a sample piece
Just a
that was
sample,
put in.
right.
Okay. Because they may need a footing. They could use that as a footing.
Yeah, so if it's the right size, let us know.
And would they, you could always stick it someplace in the meantime.
Right.
To
Yes.
get it out of there.
Did you happen to see the last Barre Gazette? Did
Yes.
you read it?
Yes. About the meeting?
About the some people
Yes.
were dissatisfied with what, is that why Fran was here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I was just
And I
curious, how
told-
come he was alone?
It all worked out.
I said I told him to process questions through me, and that I thought it would be cumbersome to have a meeting with everybody asking questions.
Okay.
So I said, if anybody has concerns, please have them contact me. I'll deal with it with Keith or whoever we need to deal with it. I just thought it might be crazy to have that.
Yeah.
So that's why, I'm
Good
sure
thing.
that's why Grover was here today.
Good thinking. I think he was happy with the results.
Hopefully. That's what we're here for,
Yeah.
make people happy.
Unfortunately, that's almost impossible.
Thank you, Keith.
Do that. Sure. Sure.
Anyone gonna make a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
No.